multiple people groups. No matter what I say in this video, somebody will get mad on either side of the argument when it comes to Israel's current place held in today's world. I am not Israeli, I am not Arab, and I am definitely not claiming to be your go-to authority when it comes to Israel and Palestine issues. All I can say is I have contacted many of you guys, the Israeli and Palestinian subscribers, for help with this video. I've conglomerated all the information I could based off of what you said and added it with my research. I will try to make this video as plain and objective as I possibly can based off of the data, but it's not easy and it won't be perfect, but I will try. So without further ado, let's begin.
It's time to learn geography.
Now, to most people today, the USA and China might be the giants of geopolitical impact. However, literally over half of the world is keeping their eyes on this one small sliver of land straddling 3 continents, smaller than the size of El Salvador. Why is it that this one piece of land has such a powerful hold on billions of people? How did it become the epicenter of worldview tension? The answer is incredibly complex, and in no way could I possibly answer everything in this episode, but what I can do is try to relay as much information as I can to give a platform for insight. Man, it is going to be really hard to be like funny and quirky in this video. At least the first part is going to be kind of easy. Actually, no, it won't. And our first course of controversy. Woohoo! I can already hear the keyboard warriors typing up paragraphs in caps lock. Not much I can do, so let's just ride this pony into the sunset, shall we? Today, the state of Israel is located in the Middle East, surrounded by Egypt, Jordan, Syria, and Lebanon, with the Mediterranean Sea to the west, and a very narrow coast along the Gulf of Aqaba in the south, which connects to the Red Sea. The country is divided into 6 administrative districts, or mehuzot, as well as the claimed but not completely internationally recognized capital of Jerusalem near the center. And here's what you're all waiting for, the Palestine stuff. These 2 areas right here are known as the West Bank. Israelis call them Judea and Samaria, and the Gaza Strip. These are, according to Israelis, disputed territories, and according to the UN, Israeli-occupied territories that are not recognized as part of Israel, but make up the larger entity commonly known as Palestine, or at least the Palestinian state. Parts of these 2 entities are currently ruled by different Palestinian authorities, the West Bank under Fatah, and Gaza under Hamas. In addition, even though Ramallah acts as kind of like a capital to the West Bank Palestinian Authority area, the city of Jerusalem is kind of seen as like the rightful capital of both entities. However, it's one big confusing mess of checkpoints that extend all the way to the West Bank that would make your head spin if you even attempted to explain it, but I'll try. Basically, this right here, known as the Armistice or the Green Line, was established shortly after the start of modern-day Israel. Now, here's the thing. Although it looks like a concise division, the Green Line technically isn't a full nation-state border division, as it was set up as a ceasefire line. And this is where legal semantics get really messy. Israel has had a lot of conflicts since independence, but basically after the 6-day war, in which pretty much everyone surrounding them attacked, Israel actually won and took over pretty much the entire state, plus the Sinai Peninsula and the Golan Heights, which has the UN Disengagement Observer Force Zone that manages the border with Syria. While everyone was taking forever to decide what to do with the newly acquired land, should they give it back for peace or should they partition it, Israelis just kind of moved into the West Bank anyway, since they figured the armistice line was no longer under ceasefire status. Eventually, they gave back the entire Sinai Peninsula to Egypt for peace, but then by the time they addressed the West Bank, there were already over 100,000 Israelis living there. And that's kind of where things got really messy. After all the settlements were set up in the West Bank, it kind of chopped up the map into pockety Palestinian neighborhood islands. These areas are kind of divided into 3 separate types of divisions established by the Oslo Accords in the 90s, areas A, B, and C. Type A makes up about 18% of the West Bank, but with the largest populations, classified as being under full control of the Palestinian Authority. Type B, about 22% of the land, is under Palestinian civil authority, but under Israeli security control. Finally, Area C, which makes up about 60% of the land, is the mostly uninhabited area of the West Bank, which is pretty much under Israeli control, and Palestinians must obtain a permit to build there, although getting a permit is pretty difficult. This is where most of the Israeli settlements are, and about 5% of Israel's population lives with about 500,000 Israeli citizens. But the biggest issue, finally, Jerusalem. Why is Jerusalem so important? First of all, Jerusalem was completely annexed after the 6-day war, even though it was split previously by the Green Line. They tried to establish a very carefully structured, religiously sensitive format that allowed the 3 major religions to kind of each grab at Jerusalem, giving pre-1967 Arab residents in East Jerusalem and their descendants permanent residency status and the ability to apply for citizenship. However, to this day, the move is still not well received, and the majority of UN member states do not exactly recognize the annexation, as most of them believe that Jerusalem should be under international status. And in terms of why everyone makes such a huge fuss over Jerusalem, well, in the shortest way I can answer this, it contains the holiest site to Jews and the 3rd holiest in Islam, the Temple Mount. What is the Temple Mount? Well, according to what we know from ancient recorded history from both internal and external sources, this place was the claimed site of the 1st and 2nd Jewish temples thousands of years ago, until it was destroyed by the Babylonians first, and then rebuilt only to be again destroyed by the Romans. Then it was made into a temple for the god of Jupiter until the Umayyads came in the 7th century AD and built the Dome of the Rock, which is a shrine, not a mosque, the Dome of the Chains, which is a prayer house, not a shrine, and the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is a mosque. To the Jewish community, the dream is to one day rebuild the Jewish temple a 3rd